The number didn't blink. It didn't fade. It didn't apologize for existing. $1,247,390.18. Harold Whitman stared at the screen as if it might suddenly accuse him of something. His reflection shimmered faintly in the glass, gray hair perfectly combed, gold cufflinks catching the office light. For the first time in years, the image felt fragile. Behind him, Marcus Bell stood quietly, hands folded in front of him, the sleeves of his hoodie covering part of his palms. He had learned early how to make himself smaller in places that weren't built for him. Whitman cleared his throat again, too loudly this time. "Marcus," he said, forcing a professional smile that now felt painfully stiff. This is quite an account." "Yes, sir," Marcus replied. "That's why my mom chose this bank." Whitman nodded, though his mind was racing. He scrolled through the transaction history slowly, deliberately, as if speed might expose his shock. Deposits came in quarterly. Some larger, some smaller, but always consistent. The origin codes told a story he hadn't expected: software licensing, international royalties, long-term index funds. This wasn't luck money. This was planned. "You said your mother set this up," Whitman said gently. Marcus nodded. "She said banks don't always believe kids. Especially kids like me." Whitman felt the words land harder than any accusation could have. "I was 9 when she opened the account," Marcus continued. "She made me sit right where I'm standing now. Told me to listen carefully and ask questions." Whitman glanced at the chair across from his desk. He gestured quickly. "Please, sit. I insist." Marcus hesitated, then sat on the edge of the leather chair, careful not to sink into it. The chair probably cost more than his monthly groceries. "My mom didn't trust appearances," Marcus said. "She trusted numbers." Whitman almost smiled, but it didn't quite form. Outside the office, whispers grew louder. The teller, young, nervous, observant, kept glancing toward the glass walls. She had seen the manager's face change. She had seen the way his posture shifted, shoulders straightening with urgency instead of annoyance. Something was happening. Inside the office, Whitman leaned forward. "Marcus, forgive me for asking, but why come in today? Most balances can be checked online." Marcus looked down at his shoes. The rubber sole on the left foot had begun to peel. "Our internet got shut off last week," he said. "I figured I should come in person." Whitman's chest tightened. "And," Marcus added softly, "today was my mom's birthday." The room fell quiet. "She used to bring me here afterward," Marcus said. "We'd sit across the street and eat hot dogs from the cart. She said it was important to remember where we were when things started going right." Whitman swallowed. "I wanted to see the number today," Marcus said. "Just once. To remind myself she didn't imagine it. That it's real." Whitman looked at the screen again, then back at the boy. "It's very real," he said quietly. "And Marcus, you've handled it responsibly. Far more responsibly than many adults I've met." Marcus shrugged slightly. "Money doesn't scare me. Losing people does." Whitman had no response for that. A knock tapped gently on the office door. The teller peeked in. "Sir," she said cautiously, "there's a line forming." Whitman waved her away. "They can wait." He turned back to Marcus. "Is there anything you need from us today? A withdrawal? A statement?" "Yes, sir," Marcus said. "A printed balance would be nice. And, I wanted to ask about setting up another account." Whitman raised an eyebrow. "Another account? For a fund," Marcus said. "My school counselor said I should start early if I want to help people." Whitman leaned back slowly. "Help people how?" Marcus thought. For a moment. "Shoes. Lunch cards. Field trips. Kids who don't ask because they're tired of being told no." Whitman exhaled through his nose, staring at the ceiling briefly. "You're 14, he said. "Most kids your age ask for phones. Or sneakers." Marcus smiled faintly. "I do want sneakers. Just, not as much as I want other kids to stop pretending they're fine." The silence that followed was heavy, but not uncomfortable. Whitman stood suddenly. "Marcus, I'd like to personally help you set this up. No fees. No minimums." "That's kind," Marcus said. "Thank you." Whitman hesitated, then added, "And, if you ever feel you're treated unfairly here, or anywhere, you can ask for me. Directly." Marcus met his eyes. "I will." As they walked back into the main lobby, conversation stopped mid-sentence. Every face turned. The boy with the worn-out shoes walked beside the bank manager now, not behind him, not ignored. Side by side, the security guard straightened. The woman with the purse lowered it. The whispers died. Whitman handed Marcus a crisp printed statement. Marcus glanced at it once, folded it carefully, and slipped it into his pocket like it was something fragile. "Thank you," he said. As Marcus turned to leave, Whitman spoke again. "Marcus." "Yes, sir." Whitman paused. His voice softened. "Your mother would be proud." Marcus's lips pressed together for a moment. Then he nodded once. "I know," he said. The glass doors closed behind him with a soft whoosh. Whitman stood there long after Marcus disappeared down the street. He replayed the laugh in his mind, the one he wished he could take back. For the rest of the day, he couldn't focus. Numbers blurred. Conversations felt distant. Because no balance sheet had ever taught him a lesson like the boy in worn-out shoes had. And he knew, deep down, that the world was going to hear Marcus Bell's name again. Just not in the way anyone expected. The first bell rang at Jefferson Middle School like it always did, sharp, impatient, uncaring. Marcus Bell slipped into the hallway stream, backpack hanging light against his shoulders. Inside were 2 notebooks, a library book, and the folded bank statement he hadn't taken out since yesterday. It felt heavier than everything else combined. "Yo, Marcus." Darren's voice cut through the noise. Darren had new sneakers, bright white, spotless. The kind Marcus only saw behind glass. "Nice shoes," Darren smirked, eyes dropping to Marcus's worn soles. "You running those till college?" A few kids laughed. Marcus kept walking. That used to be the part that hurt, the laughter. Lately, it just felt distant, like static on a radio he no longer tuned into. In homeroom, Mrs. Alvarez handed out permission slips for the Science Museum trip. Marcus scanned the paper, already knowing what it said at the bottom. Cost: $18.50. He folded it quietly and slid it into his notebook. At lunch, Marcus sat alone near the vending machines, eating the sandwich he'd made at home. Across the cafeteria, he noticed 3 kids he recognized, not by name, but by hunger. One shared fries with another. A girl pretended she wasn't hungry at all. Marcus stood. He walked straight to the counselor's office. Ms. Turner looked up as he knocked. "Marcus, everything okay?" "Yes, ma'am," he said. "I'm ready." She blinked. "Ready for what?" "For the fund." She gestured for him to sit. "I talked to the bank," Marcus said. "They'll help set it up. I just need the school's approval." Ms. Turner studied him carefully. "Marcus, you're very young to be carrying something like this." Marcus smiled politely. "I've been carrying it a while." That afternoon, the principal called an emergency staff meeting. By Friday, rumors moved faster than facts. Marcus is getting adopted. He won the lottery. He's lying. On Monday morning, the announcement came over the loudspeaker. All students and staff are asked to attend a brief assembly. The gym buzzed with curiosity. Marcus sat in the front row, hands clasped, heart steady. Ms. Turner stood behind him. The principal stepped up to the microphone. "Today," the principal said, "we're announcing the creation of the Bell Opportunity Fund, named in honor of a former student and community member." Marcus felt his chest tighten. The fund will cover lunches, field trips, school supplies, and emergency needs, no questions asked. Whispers rippled. The principal turned slightly. "This fund was started by one of our own students." The gym went quiet. Marcus Bell. For a moment, no one moved. Then heads turned. Eyes widened. Darren's jaw dropped. Marcus stood. He didn't smile. He didn't wave. He just spoke. "My mom used to say help works best when it's quiet," Marcus said into the microphone. "So this isn't about me. It's about kids who pretend they're fine." Silence. "Shoes don't tell you who someone is," Marcus added. "And neither does money." The applause came slowly, uncertain at first, then louder. Teachers stood. Students followed. Some cried. After the assembly, kids stopped Marcus in the hallway. "Thank you. My brother needs help. I didn't know." Even Darren didn't say anything, just nodded once, eyes down. That afternoon, Whitman walked into the school office in his suit and tie. "I'm here to see Marcus Bell," he said. Ms. Turner smiled knowingly. Whitman found Marcus outside, sitting on the steps. "You did something incredible," Whitman said. Marcus shrugged. "I just listened to my mom." Whitman handed him a folder. The bank matched your initial contribution. Quietly. Marcus looked up, surprised. Why? Whitman paused. Because I laughed once. And I don't want to be that man again. Marcus considered that. Then he held out his hand. Whitman shook it. Weeks passed. Kids stopped skipping trips. Lunch cards appeared without explanation. New shoes showed up in lockers with no names attached. Marcus kept wearing his old ones. One afternoon, a box appeared on his porch. Inside was a pair of sneakers, simple, sturdy. No brand name, just a note. For when you're ready. Marcus smiled. He placed them beside the door. And went out in his worn-out shoes, just a little longer. Because some things weren't meant to be replaced. They were meant to be remembered.